What's up, Tim Sykes, Millionaire Mentor Trader here. 1 a.m. video lesson. I'm a little pumped up because I got a lot to go over. Want to make sense of the OTC market right now just so that you can maximize it, so that you can understand the risks. Just because you don't lose on a trade or just because, one of the stocks that you're in doesn't get halted doesn't mean that the risks aren't there. So I think a lot of people are not seeing the risks that they're taking when they're trading these penny stocks. Never forget 90% plus of traders lose. There's a reason why most traders online don't show their real name or all their trades. I encourage you to ask all traders to show all their real names and all their trades publicly, and you'll get laughed at, you'll get ignored. I don't know why full transparency is so difficult, but again, we're in this, kind of shady industry. So expect the worst out of every company. I don't care if you're buying it. I'm long BTZI right now over the weekend on that perfect Friday ramp and a multi-day breakout. And I expect it to be one of the worst companies ever. I'm not saying that this is a blue chip company. I'm simply playing the pattern. And I'll get into that in a second. Before I get into BTZI and a bunch of other stocks, want to just go over a bunch of stuff. This is Jack 2, I'll call him, because, Jack 1, Jack Daniel, or Jack Kellogg actually, became one of my newest millionaire students just a few months ago. Now Jack Kellogg is over 5 million. Jack Daniel, this young guy, is still in school. If you've been in the challenge chat, you saw that he was just made a moderator. He's been making $50,000, $100,000 lately on his trades. Freaking awesome. And guess what? He shows all of his trades. This weekend, I actually just filmed an interview with him and Matt Monaco, another one of my newest millionaire students. Matt Monaco had a $400,000 week, not this past week, the week before, which is awesome. But me and Matt interviewed Jack. Excited for you to see that. Jack is very humble despite making over $1 million. And last February 2020, he was at $20,000. Okay. And he's been in my challenge for 4 years now. So you can see he wasn't doing much. He was studying every day, but he wasn't really doing that much in terms of profits. And I think that it's a good lesson where, frankly, you have to study a ton and learn the process and learn these counterintuitive lessons and sometimes take losses and sometimes, get unlucky and being in the wrong stock, like if it gets halted or if it gaps down big, like GTLL, which I'll get into. These lessons are part of your education. You cannot make big money without a foundation of lessons first. If you do make big money too quickly without a foundation of rules, discipline, patience, perseverance, gratitude for the whole process, you will probably lose it very quickly. There's a saying, a fool and his money are quickly parted. And that's the reality. So I was really happy that Jack has a good head on his shoulders. We also released part 1 of Jack Kellogg's massive 4-hour interview going over his whole struggles. I'll link Jack Kellogg's video just below this. You should watch that. This interview with Jack Daniel will come out in a little bit. Also got to congratulate, not quite a millionaire yet, but another one of my students, Dan Irish, $750,000. He has been studying, and you can see his profit chart is going parabolic. Also got to congratulate, it's not just about the big money. Every small amount matters. Where was it? Sorry, I have too many windows open. This is Jack Daniel studying, by the way. And this is, I think his girlfriend took this photo of him. But, this brings back memories where he has all these charts on the wall, very similar to when I first got started. And it's actually pretty cool. It's just obsessive studying. And then someone said, oh, it doesn't look very comfortable. That looks miserable. Yes, studying is miserable. Okay, learning is miserable. If you have a loss, it feels miserable. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the process. And it's the process that I want to teach you. Also, here's Simon. And he said, to all the Sykes haters, Simon's been a student for like a year or a year and a half now. And he's seen me, create 5 millionaire students just in the past few weeks. And what you guys don't understand, I'll disclaim it all the time that most traders lose 90%. Different academic studies say 90%, 92. One even says 95%. I don't care if 99% of traders lose. I want you to learn from those people who show all trades and frankly, even though they lose, their wins are bigger than their losses. So, I have to make videos like this to kind of get the process in your mind so that you're on the right track. You're not distracted by my haters or doubters or, fakers. And I love that Simon says, he trades his own plan. He doesn't follow others. In case you're ever wondering why I have so many haters, they're not real people. They're not real accounts. Many of you guys haven't necessarily looked back at previous video lessons. Back in 2014, 2015, when I was really exposing the weed pumps and they all went to zero or close to it, I got a lot of hate because no one likes the guy who, says like the party's all over. Even though this time I'm not even shorting, the promoters are still saying that I'm shorting and they're claiming that I'm shorting, even though I show all my trades and I haven't shorted any stock in months. Again, because they just want to discredit me. Why should you want to discredit me? Me, oh me, Timothy. What did I do to want to be discredited? Because I teach people how this game works. I teach you never to believe in these companies. Like, I can't tell you how many promoters were all pumped like, Sykes is long BTCI. Yes, I'm long for the pattern, like I said, as I'll get into, but I don't think it's a good company. I don't think it's going to be a big winner long term. I could be wrong, but 99.999% of companies with these chart patterns, with the promoters during bubbles, they fail and they go to zero in the long run. This isn't me. This isn't my opinion. This is data. This is history. I'm a glorified history teacher. And guess what? Promoters don't want you to know about that. Why? Because promoters don't want you to ever sell. If too many people are aware and people start taking profits along the way, God forbid, then guess what? That creates backlash from their pumps. That creates a whole level of sellers where, frankly, it hurts the promoters being able to pump the stock price as high as possible. Even though that's in the promoter's mind. In my mind and in reality, the more volatility, the more liquidity. Once people start to realize, like, I teach my students not to follow my alerts, not to follow anybody's alerts, but to learn from the alerts and see why. Why am I long BTCI if I don't believe it's a good company in the long run? I'll get to that in a second. But first, let me just show you something you guys probably haven't seen. This was a few years ago, and, it was just funny. I got this message like, Timothy Sykes, from all these different usernames. You called us a pump in your new video. Enjoy the dislikes coming. That's what's being said here. Okay, and I screenshotted this because these are all fake users. When I say, like, beware of promoters, beware of promoter bots, they're in chat rooms, they're in Discord, they're in Telegram, they're in Webull, they're on WhatsApp. They're on Twitter. They're literally everywhere, and they're not real. And so I just thought it was funny because I called, if I call any company a pump, God forbid, even though a lot of them are being pumped, I become like pumpers' enemy number one. And it just doesn't have to be that way. So if you ever wonder why there's so much hate and so much misinformation, it's because I'm telling people the truth. These are pumps. And again, you don't have to listen to me. Go back and look through history. Go use Stock to Trade breaking news every single day, which you should already be using. They're showing off which companies have the promoters, which companies are being touted. Those are pumps, okay? And I'll get into one of the companies in a second just to make my point clear. But first, I want to get into another thing that, people are talking about where I think that they're not talking about this enough. This is SEC trading suspension. I just did a Twitter search. We now have several companies that have been halted by the SEC. COUV, SCIE, HYII, ABVG, PDPR, UNGS. And I think there's going to be more coming up soon. So this is the risk with any play. And this is why, okay, I don't believe in BTZI long term, but it had a perfect close. I'm in the low 30s. It's already up to the high 30s. If Bitcoin, doesn't fall apart and gaps up even a little bit, this should theoretically, hopefully go to the 40s, maybe the 50s. I don't know how far it can go. But I never want to go too big on any OTC play right now because any OTC play with promoters that has been being pumped with a big percent gain can get halted. And when there's a halt, it's for a week, 2 weeks, sometimes a month. They do a whole investigation. Usually these companies reopen down 40, 50, 60, 70, 90%. You don't know, there's a lot of gray area. I'm not saying that they're doing anything illegal. I'm not a lawyer. I don't care. I care about percentages. I care about gains. Okay. I don't want to be in a stock that gets halted overnight. So, I was buying, frankly, COUV, I think 2 or 3 nights before on this breakout day. One night before, 2 nights before it got halted because I was just buying the technical breakout and I was in pretty big. So I got a little lucky. I kind of wish that, I don't wish losses on anybody, but for the lessons, and again, because I donate 100% of my trading profits to charity, for the lessons, I kind of wish that I had been in it over the halt, and then people could have seen me. Like, it would have sucked, but I would have sucked it up. Speaking of charity, by the way, I haven't even announced this yet, but there are 4 charities that we're going to be donating $120,000 to help Texas. Texas has really been hit hard by this cold winter storm. So been talking with a bunch of different charities, and we're going to help donate to the food banks. World Central Kitchen, which I've donated to before, gets $30,000. Central Texas Food Bank gets $30,000. Mercy Chefs gets $30,000, and North Texas Food Bank gets $30,000. And this $120,000, understand, this is roughly what I made last week in trading profits. So it's my honor to donate 100% of my trading profits to charity. And, I'm pitching in a little more money too, just because, a lot of people in Texas, a lot of families need that help. So yes, I do donate 100% of my trading profits. We have more donations coming up, but I got to talk with the charities. There's a whole process. I don't just throw money around. I mean, this is my hard-earned money that I actually do donate. But these 4 charities are great. I will link them below this video. If you don't mind, leave a comment underneath this video. Like, no matter what lessons you learn from this, do me a favor and leave a comment underneath this video saying, I promise to help Texas. And I'm not saying that you have to, donate $120,000 or even $120. Talking about these charities. I'm going to link all 4 of these charities in the caption below. Talking about the charities helps. Some people say, Tim, why don't you just give quietly? No, I don't talk about my trades quietly, and I don't talk about my donations quietly. And they're actually interconnected since I donate 100% of my trading profits. But I talk about it not because I need anything for my ego. You don't need to congratulate me on giving back. I'm proud to do it. It's my honor. I'm just glad I can help. But I want you to highlight these 4 charities. I want you to highlight when I'm saying, look, I'm donating $120,000 to get more traders giving back. A lot of traders are having record profits in OTCs, in crypto, in so many different fields. And it's crazy to me that they're really not, giving back. One of my early challenge students, Mason, donated to Barstool Fund. He tagged like 20 traders on Twitter and he challenged all of us to donate. And I was like, great idea. And I donated $100,000 pretty much on the spot. Barstool Fund is a great charity that helps small businesses in America. And I really don't think many of the other traders there donated. I know they didn't donate as much, but and they're making more than me with trading profits. That's the funny thing. I still trade small compared to a lot of the traders right now, and they just didn't give back. And I'm just like, what's going on? This is crazy. By the way, year to date now, I'm over $500,000 in profits in basically a month and a half. You can see all of my trades. Just small gains and small losses adding up. It's been a crazy market. And to put this in perspective, I mean, this is more than all of my 2019 and 2018 trading profits times 2. Each of those years, I think if you add up my 2018 and 2019 trading profits, it might be like 250, 300,000, maybe like let's call it 300,000. So nearly double, 2 years combined in basically a month and a half. That's this market. But I still like trading small. I will do better with my small account challenge and, showing you which trades I think are best to hold overnight. I've just been, so overwhelmed lately. And I think it's important to trade small, especially while you're beginning. When you listen to Jack 2's webinar or video that we did. He had a small account last year. And Mariana, my top upcoming female student, this is freaking awesome. Just look at this. Let me just zoom in here. This was 8 months ago. She was dip buying OZSC. She made $38. Same exact morning panic now, and she's making $16,805. This is why trading small is good, because you practice with a small account, you learn the process. It doesn't really matter much whether she made 38 or lost 38. She's learning the process. And because she learned it so well, and now because the market has heated up so much, she's more prepared. And now she did the exact same trade with a bigger position size, and she made 16,000. She is now over 800,000 in profits. And she's in her early 20s. So just think about this. Let me show you one picture too before I get to charts. This was a DM I got, and I turned it into a story because it happens more often than you think. And someone, when I'm highlighting the 5 new millionaire students, and they're like, "You're a fake," and I didn't even respond because I get this stupidity and this hatred and this bitterness. And then they responded where I talked about how I lost $500,000 once upon a time and the lessons from it. And they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I literally have no money. I'm living, on my parents' expenses. It's bad in here." And I'm like, "Well, you can still study, But this is like the anger that exists in trading. People don't talk about it. People don't want to highlight it, but it exists because most people don't have a lot of money. Most people are losing money. And I don't want that. I really believe, I don't care if you're living, on your parents' expenses. I don't care how much money you have. The fact that a lot of these top students that I have now started very small, and now they're growing their accounts parabolically, exponentially, whatever you want to call it. It is possible in this market. That's why I'm staying up till 1, 2 in the morning working on a video lesson, not just because my blood is boiling for misinformation, but because I want you to maximize this market right now. So let me show you one more photo. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of photos. So before we get to the charts, one last little photo where, at 6 p.m. Eastern every night, I just post like a recent trade just to get people, seeing that, I have small gains and small losses and it adds up. And I get these, responses from somebody who's involved with the AITX promotion. And yes, AITX is a promotion. And they're like, "Oh, $581, time to retire." And I'm like, "Actually, this is just part of the roughly $1.5 million in trading profits I made in the last year. Trading small to teach my students and donating it all to charity. My thanks for your ignorance, as it'll help me explain the process better in tomorrow's video lesson," which is happening right now. There is so much, again, stupidity, ignorance, hate, negativity, whatever you want to call it. Small gains are good, but the promoters don't want anybody to sell, okay? And unfortunately for a lot of people beginning right now, they're learning the wrong lessons because a lot of these pumps are going. I'm underestimating them, but I teach a safe way. I like locking in profits. I prefer to underestimate. I don't believe the hype. I try to ride it up as much as I can. And, if you follow me long enough, I have patience problems. I could have held AITX and a bunch of these other plays longer, but we've seen this kind of crazy bubble. For me, again, it's not even just about the $581 or if it was $58 or $5,800. I know that sounds crazy, but again, I'm trying to take advantage of the patterns and I'm trying to do better, just like Mariana. And thank God Mariana gets it. Thank God a lot of you guys and girls understand small gains are fine and you don't want to overstay. Okay, let's just take a look at what OZSC has done. OZSC actually came back. Thank God all of these plays are coming back a little bit. They had some solid first green days on Friday because, Wednesday and Thursday were not looking very good for most of these plays. But OZSC has a first green day. I like dip buying first green days. I probably should have dip bought. I probably should have been more aggressive with OZSC. I had roughly $100,000 week, my second roughly $100,000 week in a row on other plays. I was nailing SWRM on Friday. This was a massive breakout, and I wasn't sure that it could go. I was buying it in the ones, selling it in the twos, buying it in the twos, selling it in the threes, and it goes all the way up to the fours. I totally underestimated it. But to be fair, this was the single biggest percent winner in the entire markets. So I don't mind underestimating that. Also, BFCH I was buying, and I underestimated this. I caught the breakout. I sold it well in the 40s, but it actually went to the 50s. So my small gains are safe relatively. I understand you can lose money on any trade. 90% of traders lose. Remember the numbers. But I'm like really kind of erring on the side of caution with a lot of these plays because I don't believe in them. So I think that's a good way to be. I'm not against the promoters. I just want to play cautiously. And on, GTLL, there's so many promoters involved here. And I freaking, just simply took profits because it started going parabolic, right? Like, so this is another thing that Jack Kellogg does. I do, Matt Monaco does, Kyle Williams, all of my, new millionaire students, we all really think the same. Like, we want to try to give these plays time. Like GTLL, we thought was going to be a good first green day, but from its bottom here at like 0.012, it went up to 0.022. This is nearly 100% gain, and this is just the past 3 days. But if you look at it, I mean, it's down from the threes, and that was the high. But this kind of bounce, I mean, this is near best case scenario. And frankly, again, I got a little lucky, but I think that it's also because I just err on the side of caution. But I didn't hold this overnight, not because I didn't think that it wasn't going to go up. I literally thought that this was going to gap up. But I don't like chasing. I don't like holding stocks that are up 100%. And frankly, I think I made like 25, 30% as part of this run up. I didn't catch the whole run up. It had already started, running before. And I was like, okay, potential first green day. But so many people were like, oh yeah, Sykes is with us. He's going to hold. And then I sold before the close and they're like, you're terrible. You're a trader. No, I am a trader, Trader, not a traitor, Traitor, which is what I was being called. I'm not part of the pumps, okay? I don't care about this company. I don't care about any of these companies. I'm trading the pattern. I'm trading the price action. I also had SIRC. And SIRC was going, parabolic. Jack Kellogg also had SIRC right in here. And he got in before me, I think, on both of them. I didn't catch, right when this bounce started. I caught it like right here at like 160-ish. And then it wasn't really, breaking out convincingly. And I was just scared. So I just got out. I could have held it overnight. I guess I could have gotten out in the 180s, instead of the high 160s. So I didn't have to sell. But again, with these, halts going on, I really can't encourage you enough to look and see at these stocks are getting halted, and they get halted overnight. Okay, so they don't like this. If you look at all these halts, they announce the halts right at 9:30 a.m. The stocks just don't trade. So if you're in an OTC overnight, especially one that has been promoted with promoters or has been pumped, you have that risk. And then, that money might be tied up for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks while they do a whole investigation. Sometimes the halts, they don't open down, 50, 60, 70%. Like COUV already responded. I think they were the only one out of all of these to respond. But I don't know how much they're going to be down. But again, most of the time they're down. Most of the time they take days or weeks to get figured out. I don't want to be involved in that. So a lot of the time you'll see me, like, even though it's a first green day, like on GTLL, everyone's like, oh, you said it was a first green day. You hold first green days. I'm a trader, Trader. Just because I go into a trade expecting that I'm going to hold it overnight, if my profit target is hit, if I'm, not holding OTCs much overnight, not only because of the potential for, halts, but because I want to be clear for morning panics near the open the next day. I mean, I literally don't have enough hands or time to dip by all the panics that have been happening lately at the market open. Another conspiracy theory, Sykes, you caused that panic. No, I don't. The panics are already happening. I don't have a position, hopefully, and I simply scoop up those panics. It's been happening almost every single day. TSNP, I might have traded it 2 or 3 dozen times now. I don't know if I had a small loss on TSNP. It had kind of a stutter step bottom the other day. But almost all of my trades buying the morning panic on TSNP have been very profitable. Why? Because TSNP has a lot of promoters. Does that mean that TSNP is a fraud? No, it just has a lot of promoters. And it's also valued at several $billion, which I think is excessive. But that's just me being safe. I dip by the morning panics and then I'm out. And I don't know what TSNP is going to do. Again, history, stats show that the vast majority of these companies will either get halted or crash or fail or one or more. I just play it safe. Some people have been asking me, like, what do you mean by like these companies being sketchy? They put out all these press releases. People are like, you haven't even done the due diligence. You don't know about their new technology. And I've literally just heard it all before on so many technologies, so many different industries, so many sectors. I just don't believe a word these companies say. Again, I'm not against the promoters. I'm grateful, on the contrary, for all the promotion that goes on. If there's a promoter listening, or if you know a promoter's address, give it to me and I'll send them an edible arrangement. I can't thank them enough for promoting all these companies. I just trade the volatility. But it's also my duty to teach students how to stay safe. And let me just show you, one tweet here, or a few tweets, just to get into some research so you can understand why these companies are really not the most quality companies in the world like promoters would have you believe. So I just did a Twitter search for ALYI and Timothy Sykes. Somebody was tweeting me some research today. I've never talked to this person. I have no idea. Take it with a grain of salt, but I just thought it would be a good educational example. And literally on every single one of these plays, you could do some digging into the management, into their finances, into their cash or lack thereof. They're all like just a closet full of skeletons. And that just doesn't usually end well. I'm sure, one out of 1,000 of these pumps is going to make it, but I think that it's a waste of time for you to try to guess. And for me, I just play by the averages, right? Like I expect the worst out of these companies. Here's ALYI. This guy's asking me, like, curious to see your research. So far, I found all the rubbish, fake pumping PR since 2018. And by the way, ALYI, like, it's crazy how far it's come up. Like, I am shocked at how high it's gone. And again, this one had a first green day on Friday, so theoretically I should be long. But it's just up from sub pennies, whether it's ALYI or VPER, or TSNP. TSNP, I mean, this came up from the sub pennies. This is like 500, 700 times your money. ALPP also. And they put out all these press releases, but they also have these promoters. And with, ALYI, if you go back and you look at it, there's so much stuff that went on. This was years ago where they announced like the same press releases. They just they literally re-released the same press releases. And you can see here, like, people are like, oh, AOII, TSNP are both no-brainers. Yeah, they're both no-brainer pumps, right? And again, you have like these promoters who are just like using the rocket ship, and the promoters like to try to think that it's like a conspiracy theory, that there are short sellers shorting these plays. Literally, there is a short squeeze going on WNDW, but this is a $30 plus OTC. There are no short sellers, or no sane short sellers, trading plays like, I was accused of being short HQGE. I've never shorted HQGE. I bought it once. I bought it into a morning panic. I made a few $1,000s and then I sold it. And I actually had a good sell right near the top. And I said, look, I sold into strength. I'm done with it. And somehow my selling into strength says, oh, that's code for short selling. No, it's not. Nobody is shorting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cent stock. I know a lot of short sellers, and I know a lot of dumb short sellers, and nobody is that dumb to short this, even though, they actually probably should have, because this thing dropped 70, 80%. But I think short selling is very dangerous. It's very risky. I have not shorted any stock in months. I know there's like these conspiracy theories, but I literally show every trade. You can look at my commentary in the chat room. You can see my watch list. All of them are listed as potential breakout buys with news and big volume and a catalyst, or potential dip buys, ideally into the morning panic. Those are the two main patterns that I trade by. And I would love to buy HQGE if it showed better signs. It couldn't even go green after, this big drop. All these other plays, ASTI, first green day. ALYI, first green day. OZSC, first green day. I was dip buying ENZC. This is another conspiracy theory that I shorted ENZC. I've never shorted ENZC. Okay, I've dip bought it a few times. This one had a first green day. Actually, faked a lot of people out. Was fading into the close, but finished right near the highs. So good job, whoever supported that stock. This is what you have to understand. BRLL is another one that couldn't have a first green day, and this one just keeps going lower and lower. But again, BRLL sub penny stock. I mean, it started the year at a third of a penny. So even though you say, wow, it's down so much off its highs, it's down 50% off its highs, it's still up 100 times, not 100%, 100 times since the beginning of January, since really even like the end of January. So you have to keep things in perspective. Congratulations to the promoters. Congratulations to the longs. I want these stocks to spike as high as possible. Like people are like, oh, you're no one talks crap about a stock unless they're short. No, I'm not talking crap about it. I'm trying to teach how promoters work, and promoters don't want anybody to sell, and that's wrong. Okay, a successful trade is a solid entry and an exit. A solid trade is not just an entry. And again, this is why my job is harder right now with this bubble, because I underestimated TSMP. Even though this is my biggest long over the past few months, I didn't know it was going to go to $2 a share. I was buying it, all the way in here. I was buying it literally all the way up. Congrats again to the promoters. You're taking advantage of the bubble. You're taking advantage of this hype period. I want this thing to bounce as high as possible. I want this thing to go up to 2, 3, make it worth 50 billion. I don't care. There are people like, oh, we have to squeeze Sykes. Okay, go ahead and quote, squeeze Sykes. Even though all I've ever done is dip bought this. This is the madness, the stupidity, the lies, the misinformation that's out there. I don't know who the promoters are. I don't care. Okay? The fact that it is worth several $billion, the fact that there are promoters galore in this stuff. Let me get back to this example too. AOYI. Hold on, let me find this. Just to help you understand, I could literally do this kind of digging and this kind of quote due diligence on any of these plays that are up 50, 100, 200, 500 times, and you'll see the same kind of stuff. This is a press release from 2018. And they're trying to promote their electric motorcycles. It was a little too early, but they're highlighting the fact that Goldman Small Cap Research recently issued an updated research report. If you've studied my video lessons enough, you know that Goldman Small Cap Research literally exists to try to confuse people and make them think that it's Goldman Sachs. That's why they call themselves Goldman Small Cap Research, and they are not even research. It should be called wannabe Goldman Sachs advertising, because they advertise companies. And if you go to this report, is it right here? This was from September 17th, 2018. You can see here. So this was 2.5 years ago. Frankly, again, this is where it's tough for me to teach, because it's like, wait a minute, Tim, like this research report was right. This is not a research report. This is advertising. AOYI is very different than it was back in 2018. It's just going up with the whole market. The whole market, it's like a melt up. It's not that these companies are quality. So, promoters kind of muddy the waters and they're like, see, we were right. No, there's been a giant, massive bubble. And okay, I mean, if you bought pretty much any stock, you could make a lot of money. But the point is that, look at this. Here's the disclaimer. Goldman, can I click it? Look, I can't even click it. It's not, this is like a JPEG. And if you go back through my old videos, when I did used to be a short seller, I'm not embarrassed by the fact that I made millions shorting. I just don't think it's a good strategy now. But if you go back and you look through my early videos when I was looking for promos, this is a classic promoter trick. In the disclaimer, it's not text, okay? This is all just a JPEG. And that way, Google can't pick this up. So, early on, you could just Google the words like compensated by the company in the amount of. And the amount of always changes. But the promoters got smart. They, stopped using text and they started using JPEGs, picture files that Google can't search for. Goldman Small Cap Research was compensated by the company $5,000. Okay. this is funny, and it says like, where was it? Separate from the factual content of our articles, we may from time to time include our own opinions and the opinions First Amendment, blah 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 blah. Um, and they said the information used in statements of fact have been obtained from sources considered reliable, but we neither guarantee we did not make an independent investigation or inquiry as to the accuracy of any information provided by the company. So the company, AOYI, paid Goldman $5,000 and then they gave them a ton of stats. And Goldman did not do any due diligence or research. They just literally put what the company gave them into a report, and then it became a press release. And this was back in 2018. So they were hyping themselves up. And again, literally every single one of these companies has something like this, whether it's Goldman, whether it's the company paying, whether it's a third party, whether, there's so many different variations. It doesn't even matter because again, AOYI is not moving on this, but this is why I just expect the worst out of all these companies. And when this bubble ends, AOYI will most likely go back to being a sub penny stock. I'm sorry to be the bad guy. I'm sorry to call it out. I'm not shorting because I don't know, how long this bubble is going to last. And frankly, I hope that, they pump it up. Maybe now Goldman has, more money. Maybe somebody can pay them $50,000 to pump this up even more and put like a $2 price target. It's all just BS. Okay. So this is what I do. I cut through that BS, but I do it differently than I did a few years ago, where a few years ago I would have short sold. Now, you just don't know how far these things are going to go. But AOYI, ASTI, HIPH, LTNC, there's a lot of Twitter hype right now. This is fantastic that LTNC is holding near the highs. There's a conspiracy theory that I'm short. Nope, I have never even traded it. I usually don't even like sub-penny stocks. But if they can spike this stock, I have no problem buying it because I just trade on patterns. I hope they do put out a press release. I hope they do spike this to new highs. I want these plays as high as possible. I'm just trading the volatility. Just like I am long on BTZI over the weekend, just like I made a few $1,000s buying BFCH, even though I underestimated it, just like I bought SWRM and I underestimated that. AABB, nailed that. That was one of my biggest winners. Thank you, Stocks to Trade Breaking News, for alerting this at 7 cents. I did not know it was going to go to 40 cents. I didn't know that it was going to be 6 times my money in basically 2 days. I underestimated it, but I still made a lot of money. This is what this market is. You need to expect the worst out of these companies. Be very careful holding them long overnight because they could get halted, and the halt again could lock up your money, or more than likely the stock will drop when it reopens a few weeks later. But until then, ride the hype. Dip buy morning panics by all means. I like going long first green days. But be extra cautious if there's like a lot of hype on, again, Telegram, Discord, Twitter, StockTwits, all these different services these days that promoters and pumpers now use. Be very careful if the stock does not get up, even despite all the hype, like INND, right? This one was hyped up. I thought this one was going to bounce. But the fact that it's being hyped up more and more and it comes down so quick, you have to be careful. GTLL, literally, I know people that were long overnight, even though I sold. Frankly, a lot of people don't play it as safe as I do. And it was a strong first green day. So it wasn't the worst trade. It gapped down and got crushed because their partner company, UNGS, has the same CEO, same address. And that one got halted. That was one of the halts. So everyone's like, oh, damn. I don't like any of these stocks that gap down 20, 30, 40, 50%. I don't like any of these halts. Like I want to say, and be very clear about this, the higher, the better on all these plays. But just because I'm buying these stocks, whether I'm dip buying morning panics or buying strong first green days, meaning I think that the stock can go higher, that does not mean I believe in the company. And this is the main difference, okay? I do not believe the hype. I simply try to ride it. And this little difference, this little nuance has all these promoters saying that I'm a short seller and people think like I'm like betting against what I'm saying. I'm not. Why would I do that? I'm trying to teach the process, okay? I donate 100% of the trading profits to charity. I only get paid by students. A lot of people say, oh, you're not a real trader. You only get paid by students. Okay, then call me a fake trader. Whatever you want to call me, whatever helps you sleep at night. I'm proud to trade small, real capital, not paper trading like a lot of fakers actually do. I'm trading real capital. I'm donating the money that I make to charity, and I'm teaching people the process. I stand by riding the hype and trying to ride the hype while being extra cautious overnight and expecting the worst out of all these companies fundamentally. Not believing the promoters, not believing the chat rooms, not believing BS research reports, not believing press releases. I've been in this game too long. So I know that I hope that this gets in the hands of some promoters or, their promoter bots. I guarantee you they're going to try to twist it to somehow say that I'm like a short seller. I'm not. I have not short sold any stock in months. That is one of the best decisions I have ever made because frankly, it's risky, it's stressful, and I've just been having, my best trading of my career, dollar wise, risk reward wise, gain versus loss wise. Every single metric is record breaking for me right now by focusing on the longs. And I'm going to focus on the longs until that stops working. If you ever watch a football game and you see them like run the same play once, twice, three times, and if it keeps going, they'll just keep running the same play. Maybe they found, like a weak player in the defense, so they just keep taking advantage of that. I don't know. I just keep doing the same patterns that work. Once morning panic dip buys stop working, I'll stop doing it. A lot of people are like, oh, how are you going to prepare if the market changes? What's the strategy going to be? I don't know. We'll see. I don't try to predict. I try to react. Okay. In GTLL, if you had a gun to my head overnight here on Thursday night, do you think this gaps up or gaps down? I would have said gaps up 100%. I didn't know that UNGS was going to be halted by the SEC. But again, I'm not surprised because I expect the worst out of every company. And this is what I want you to think like. I want you to be overly safe, even if you exit too safely. Like DIGAF, I was buying on Friday. Nice run, but it also was, a double, and I was kind of chasing it a little bit. I didn't know how far it could go. Some of these plays can just keep running on Friday, but it didn't close strong, so I got out for a very minor gain because they have the same promoter as some of these other plays. And I don't want to be involved in an overnight play with promoters if I don't have to be. Again, BTZI, I have, a decent size. I mean, roughly like $20,000, $25,000 worth of stock. But given my, account size, it's small in the grand scheme of things. If it does get halted, I can withstand. It would probably be like a $10,000 loss. I can withstand that. But I understand the risks, and yet I still think that the odds are good that it can go higher. I'm already up a few thousand unrealized into the close. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't chase crypto. I don't trade crypto specifically. Again, another very shady industry. I know that there's a lot of imposters out there where they're like, I get these messages like, Tim, I was just talking to you on WhatsApp. First of all, I don't have WhatsApp. You're not talking to me. You're talking to one of my imposters. But whatever they're saying that they're DMing me with, I don't DM with anybody. I have zero time. Okay. If you go back to the beginning of this, you saw me highlight a few students. There's literally dozens of my challenge students who are now into six figures. And I'm trying to, teach as best as possible to get them to seven figures so that they can, quote, fulfill their challenge. Like Jack 2, who I affectionately call him. He's like, oh, now I'm over 1 million. Like there's a weight that's been lifted off my shoulders because you go in, you study for years and years and years. All you want to do is you have this goal. And, there have been studies done where if you have a big goal, it increases your daily performance 15 to 25%. So I think it's good to dream big. But at the same time, I told Jack 2 and I told Jack 1 and I told Mariana, whether you're at 1 million or under 1 million, this is a marathon and not a sprint. We're trying to take advantage of this market. We're trying to capitalize, but you also have to respect the risks. I wouldn't expect too much out of any one play. I'm not surprised if I lose. I'm not surprised if it gets halted. So this is why I trade cowardly, but I can still try to, stack my gains. And this is why I love teaching. Okay. It's like nearly 2 a.m. now and I need to go to sleep. But pictures like this, and when promoters say like enjoy the dislikes incoming, all this does is give me, pictures like this for me to show on video lessons. And you guys as students and girls as students, I really hope it doesn't affect your studying. I hope it doesn't discourage you. It should encourage you, because once you start seeing the kind of BS that the promoters say, we're like, oh, Sykes is shorting. And for a fact, because I have specifically warned against short selling for several months, there are literally thousands of instances on this, and yet the promoters don't want to hear the truth, and they're trying to turn it. And this should help you understand this is what promoters do, okay? They lie. They don't present the truth. They create bot accounts. And I'm not against the promoters. I wish that, there was one promoter who could be like, wow, Sykes made this 50-minute video lesson. We should all listen. Sykes says he's going to buy OTCs if they have the right pattern. That's 100% true. I don't care if it's a pump. I don't care if it has promoters. I would love to buy any first green day play or dip buy any morning panic on a multi-day runner if it fits my patterns. I don't discriminate, but I'm also not going to tolerate people saying that I'm shorting. I don't tolerate lies. I have so many comments like this from promoters and promoter bot accounts trying to discredit me. And if you believe this, which you're welcome to do, if you have any doubts about my teaching, just don't join my challenge. I'm going to post a link to my challenge. Just don't learn. Just don't study. If you have any doubts, the beautiful thing about being real in this industry full of fakes is that I'm not desperate for students. I'm overwhelmed. The tables have kind of turned lately, okay? Maybe in the beginning when I didn't have that many millionaire students, and for the first 2 years in the Millionaire Challenge, I had 0 millionaires. And people were like, the Millionaire Challenge, no, your Millionaire Challenge, duh, ha ha ha. Well, it takes time. Like I said, most traders lose, and it takes time to see good trades, bad trades. Sometimes you're going to be in halted trades. Sometimes you're going to get unlucky, but it should all teach you risk reward and to try to take small positions and, take advantage of the market. I'm grateful for every play. I'm grateful for every promoter. I'm grateful for all the misinformation, because it just creates opportunity. And if you are meticulous, if you trade like a sniper, I encourage you to look through Jack Daniels trades. I encourage you to look through, all my trades. I have some losses. I overtraded a little bit on Friday. There were too many plays happening all at once. I had to put myself in timeout for an hour. I'm not going to be perfect, and I'm freaking exhausted doing all this. But I think I got everything off my chest, where I'm talking about like the promoter bot accounts, the risk of holding OTCs overnight, the risks of short selling, how small accounts are really good in the beginning. I really love this tweet. Like, this is my favorite tweet. Let me just, how do I make this bigger? Can I click on it? Well, I guess this just shows. This is her $38 profit from 8 months ago. And you can see here, literally, if she hadn't made, she posted this when she was at 725,000. Now she's over 850,000 a week later, which is just awesome. But if you didn't know her total winning rate and her track record, and you just saw this trade, and she posted this trade, promoters and their bots and newbies and people who believe in these companies instead of, trading them like a sniper, like I think you should, they would make fun of this trade. They would be like $38. Like, this is stupid. But she was learning, okay? And when she posts her next screenshot, again, some promoters, some people will still mock, $16,000 in a day. But Mariana doesn't. I don't. And she's been taking bigger sizes because she has patience, and she's scaled up properly. OZSC, fantastic finish. I probably should be long this, but I've been making $15,000, $20,000 a day lately, and by day's end, like, my brain is just mush, like it is right now at the end of this video, right now at 2 a.m. Eastern. So I got to get some sleep. Again, do me a favor, leave a comment underneath this video, not even about the trading. The biggest thing that you can really help me with is, getting the word out about these charities. I'm very excited to donate $120,000 to them, not because my ego wants it, but because I talk about it publicly and more social media followers can, donate too. So I'll link World Central Kitchen, I'll link Central Texas Food Bank, I'll link Mercy Chefs, and I'll link North Texas Food Bank. Link to them. You can help Texas too. Leave a comment underneath this saying I promise to help Texas. And it's not just about money. They need exposure too. So if you can share their profiles on Twitter, on Instagram, send it to your friends or family, whatever you can do. That's what using new technology is all about. Raising more money and helping, people, families, communities in need. So I got to get some sleep. I'll post this on Sunday. Enjoy this market. It's an amazing market, and you really should, maximize your education. Okay. In a slow market, you won't see me doing like a 2 a.m. video because frankly, there just won't be that many plays. There's not that much to talk about. There's no urgency. Right now, there is a lot to talk about. There are a lot of plays, and there's a lot of urgency because every single day there are plays where you can learn. And whether you're trading small, whether you're paper trading, whether you're trading big, it's amazing. Thank you guys and everybody in Texas. We're praying for you. We got you. We'll support you. Thank you.